school programs. Some of them focus on students who are food insecure, so helping out with the pantry program to help students who are experiencing food insecurity or homelessness sometimes, and then also with the garden program, which helps that pantry program as well, and just volunteering in the classroom, helping out where I can, different things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, those are some really, strong initiatives that we're really intrigued towards. So then, what did you aim to bring to the Board of Education, or what do you aim to support that needs to be brought to the Board of Education?
Yeah, I mean, there's two huge things that I'm really focused on. I mean, lots of other things. But since the board really focuses on policy and supporting the practices, and can't really affect things that are necessarily happening in the classroom, just support those initiatives and bring that forward. So like diversity, equity, inclusion, that's something that I want to keep going forward with. I love what Dr. Harris and what Ms. Hogan have done recently, and I really encourage that to keep happening. And I want to be a support to encourage that conversation and also encourage deeper conversations within our classrooms and give the teachers that opportunity. So if they want to do a training, maybe about how to teach, for example, African American literature, great, awesome. Let's support that and see how we can better engage with that that need. But also I want to find out what's happening at the student level, because recently there's been some things that have happened that have really infected students. Mental health, racism, things like that I really want to find out what's happening. I don't want to just say, okay, we have these great graduation numbers, we have these great numbers about students going to college, but I want to find out what's the experience like. And I want to find out from the parents and the students as well, because frankly, sometimes parents don't know the in-depth experiences of their students. Sometimes a student at school is one student, a student at home is a different person. So we really want to find out what's happening in our community and what the community needs, because schools are really the connecting foundation for the community.
So yeah, I guess the next kind of category we have is like speaking off of that diversity and inclusion ideas you were talking about. So yeah, I think Lee Young has that one.
Yeah. So what specific policies or alterations are you hoping to bring to the table?
Well, I'm really hoping to focus on, like, for example, there are really policies about having awareness in, for example, religion, not discriminating against educational content is based on religion. But I really want to encourage content to be included based upon different and diverse points of view. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of loud voices. Luckily, they're few, but a lot of loud voices really pushing to, what is it that they say? Keep traditional values. And that's kind of a dog whistle that I don't want to promote. And I want to keep the policies strong in those sorts of acts. And I want to encourage academic discourse, because sometimes, frankly, education and policy and learning are complicated and they can be really messy. But in order to provoke critical thinking and discussion, we need to have those diverse points of view and enable those to be present in our classrooms and enable the teachers to have those courageous conversations that are going to provoke our students to have that growth that they need to be successful adults in different facets of their lives. So I really want to focus on policies about content and supporting educators in their pursuit of education of the students.
Awesome. Yeah, there's some great policies and that stuff that's like very close to Marquette as well. So transitioning to like more general themes this year. So many of the main focuses of like the board members and the district is like the plan on transitioning from virtual to in-person, or maintaining a virtual and in-person, obviously while keeping students and staff members safe. So do you have any thoughts on their plan or virtual school, and are you satisfied with Rockwood's current management of continuing school both virtual and in person during a pandemic?
Yeah, I've actually been very, very pleased, because I mean, we don't often live through 100-year pandemics. So how could we even begin to say, this is something we could have done better, because we genuinely don't know. This is something that everyone's just doing the best that they can. Yeah. And for example, for my high schooler, she's actually doing better at home because she's gifted and she likes to make her own pace. So she's like, forget it, I'm doing virtual. Whereas next year she's going back. She still misses her friends and everything like that, but she's not having the struggles that some critics have said their students are having with virtual Fridays and things like that. Both my students are doing really well, and I hear lots of other students are doing really well. I definitely support Rockwood in the decision to keep both modalities, because some students it's working better for some families with immunocompromised family members, or for people who are just deeply concerned in keeping their kiddos home. I think that it's really, really successful, and I really appreciate Rockwood continuing that next year as well, because they're recognizing some students just do prefer a virtual modality.
So another important topic that we like to discuss with you is sustainability. So climate change is one of the main problems that our generation will face, and many school districts like Parkway and Clayton are taking steps to make sure their districts are more sustainable. So how open are you to supporting such actions? And if you are there any policies that you would support in the future?
Well, I definitely do. I mean, I believe in climate change. So let's just put that out there. Climate change is real. So I definitely support different policies and things like that. Not to tease some folks who are saying that it doesn't exist. Bless them. But it's stuff that I think we should really see, and get the experts in. And even students are some of the experts. Some of your classmates came and talked about mental health. I mean, we need to be listening to the students, because frankly, you all are just blowing me away with how intelligent you are. I mean, I don't know what it is, but you all are just really brilliant folks. So I think that really engaging with people who are passionate about this and saying, all right, what do we need to do? And just genuinely having that open dialogue. Because I have not looked at the Rockwood policies about certain things. I was kind of chuckling at a budget question was it last week at the PTO President's Forum? They asked, well, what would you do about budget cuts? I'm like, just stop mowing the grass, get rid of the lawnmowers, get rid of the gas, guzzling things. So that might be something as we look at, okay, should we have more community gardens? Would that be a better opportunity than having things like fertilizing grass, maintaining grass, things of that nature, just different things like that to really engage on different levels, not just sustainability, but engaging with the community, getting them gardening, or having different opportunities to discuss, well, how are we operating our buildings? How are we operating our programs that are enabling opportunities maybe for virtual participation, where we're making people drive in and not have to have so much of a commute, etc. So I think just really engaging with folks and finding out what it is that should be done, or different people's ideas. I think that's where we need to be, and just have that open discourse.
Yeah, awesome. So our final question kind of goes off of what you already mentioned. Given the virtual situation and the recent talks about mental health that many students have done, and the resources that are given to these students, what steps are you planning on taking to support students, and especially staff, and their mental health, and other things along the lines of mental health and physical well-being?
Yeah, I think that we really just need to have those open dialogues, because that's something that even my generation, mental health discussions not normalized. Here, usually in other cultures, it's just health. But for some reason here in American culture, we say there's physical health and mental health, when in actuality, they're very much intertwined. So I think that really just normalizing those discussions and making it okay to talk about, depression, and making it okay to not be okay. And I think that having those social workers in our schools, I really would love to see more social workers and more counselors, because right now I think that they're just so inundated with just course and career planning, that's something that they can't necessarily engage with mental health of students. And maybe like even as a high school student, I didn't even think about going to my counselor for anything but course planning. So actually having those discussions and saying, oh yeah, and not just have a speaker come in, but making it a regular part of our days, maybe even entering into discussions in homeroom, and having that be sort of a core team together that you can talk about mental health and have those safe spaces together in a cohort. I don't know what that looks like, but hopefully, counselors and social workers, they do brilliant work every day. And I'm sure they have some opportunities that they would love to see. I know that there's been the Beloved Community, but I've not really heard much about it. That was something that I guess it's Rockwood's best kept secret, because I haven't really heard much about it. some of the incumbents who are running, they had mentioned that there's like yoga on there and different classes about mental health, but I don't think that was really shared very widely with the community. So just having those opportunities to really attack that, and recognizing that students will show different mental health crises different ways. You might have a student who is depressed and really that comes out as anger, because largely with men and boys, it comes out largely as anger and frustration. Whereas with women, they might just be withdrawn, or they might work harder and just have that burnout sort of thing. So just recognizing that those are going to be different people, and being okay with talking about it. I think those are two huge things.
Awesome. So those are our 5 main topics that we just wanted to ask about.
Sure.
Great responses. So if there's anything else you'd like to add that kind of represents why you're running, and some of the maybe a viewpoint that we missed, we'd love for you to add that.
Yeah, sure. Well, I can't really. I mean, I guess I can think of the thing that the one thing that really pushed me forward to run is just recognizing that not all people and students were represented, and it seemed like Rockwood was working for like the folks who were kind of just the average students, the average in the middle, and I kept hearing from people who were being marginalized in some way, or just felt like they were being excluded. There was like the core group of PTO, but then there's the ragtag moms group, sitting over there to themselves, and like, well, we don't really fit in over here, and we really haven't been invited to participate. So I really wanted to run to pull those groups together and see how we can be one community and not be different divisions, especially right now, because we need to have our kids growing up in a community that shows that we're better together, to be honest, and not have that division grow and be part of our kids' lives.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a really good value and something that Rockwood does need a lot of the time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the viewpoints, and then we'll definitely get back to you as to where we share this, possibly in Rockwood or in different streams at our high school, that we could definitely spread this, because we just want to get kind of like the board levels perspectives towards the high schoolers, because that's something that, and even middle schoolers are across Rockwood, because the students also need to be a part of this as well.
Right, that's something that I hope for next year, is that there's actually a student forum. I'm like, why isn't there a student forum? Why aren't there students getting together and asking the candidates questions?
Yeah.
Because we've got Leave Women Voters, different interest groups like Rockwood Ahead. What's the other one? There's just several different interest groups that I've interviewed with or joined the forums with, but nothing with students. And I think that'd be something really important to do. Even if the different high schools got together, something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully you can spearhead something for next year.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for the input. Thanks for your time. And we really appreciate it. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.